Here we go. Hello, everyone. So happy to be here with all of you. I'm testing my little slide here as I go. We're here to talk about the Certificate in Indigenous Environmental Leadership. And with me, I'm so amazed because I have the program head, Leslie King. I have also Megan Hamilton, Candice Wilson, Michael Lickers, all instructor in the program. So if you're looking for more info about that program, that's the place to be. So thank you for being here. And in the tech support, I have my colleague Ariana. Thank you so much for being here. And we also have folks from the program office and we have folks from the enrollment team. So we're a big crew for you today. Very grateful you're joining us. We're together for about an hour. So we'll go through the presentation, talking about railroads, talking about the program, hearing from our instructors, and then we'll take questions at the end. As I'm presenting, I might not be able to check the chat, but I'll make sure to get back to it as soon as I'm passing it over to my colleagues. And as we start our presentation today, just inviting you to ground your feet. You'll see I'm a yoga instructor as well, and I like to bring it with me. Just maybe even closing your eyes, and let's take a deep breath, just reflecting on the Indigenous lands that we're joining us from today. So it's super important to recognize all the leadership that our Indigenous folks have done for thousands of years and continue to do so. So Railroad, we acknowledge the campus is located on the traditional land of the Lackawagan people, known as the Sunhees and Esquimalt nations. And it's with great gratitude. And I know personally, I'm so grateful that since I work here and study here, I've learned so much with my Indigenous colleagues, and we're really trying to work together, with the past, present, and future of Indigenous and non-Indigenous people being together. And I invite you to use the chat to introduce yourself and telling us which Indigenous lands you are on right now. And if you don't know where you're joining us from, maybe you can use one of the websites. I really like to use native/land.ca if you'd like to learn more. And of course, everybody in the chat, in this room, will know much more about the importance of land acknowledgement. Thank you for that. So here we are, and I'm Nancy Prévost-Maurice. You recognize the French accents, I'm sure. I work in student recruitment, and I am with you to answer any question and get you excited for the new intake we have in January. And I'll kind of browse quickly because, as you might know, this is an online program. So of course I can show you pictures of the campus, but you'll be studying mostly from home. I just want to let you know, Railroad University, we became an university in 1995. We have beautiful 565 acres of lands. A lot of education is happening on the land, but as you can see at the bottom right, a lot of our education is online. So we do a lot of online programming since day one. So it's not something we started with the pandemic. It's something we're really good at for almost 30 years old now. And if you want more pictures of the castle, not of the castle, pardon, of the, sorry about that. If you want more pictures of the campus and even a campus tour, a video, I can make sure to send one to you. It's pretty beautiful. The lagoon is amazing. I like to go for a walk there. And why explore Railroad University? And I don't know, maybe we have some grad in the room, maybe some people have been here before, but we see life as a qualification. So we're different by design. So you can come with your high school degree, as we will talk, like you bring the experience you have with you, and that will qualify as an entrance for Railroads in a way that it's not necessarily you do a degree, then you move to another degree. Your work experience and who you are will really count into our admission process. Prof who know your name, I'm pretty sure in that program that's even more true. I don't know if we can say that, but truer, because we're small cohort based. So people get to know you. So you learn with your instructors and with your peers as well. Learning based on life. So again, we bring real life challenges into the classroom. So we talk about real things and we explore and we divide and conquer the material that we learn. So it's not just kind of philosophy based, it's really theory based and practice based, hands-on program, as we say. Connection for life. I'm sure many people who have been through Railroad know that. The people we meet in our program often stay friends, colleagues, people that we add on LinkedIn and really share a lot of information, contacts for jobs. There's a beautiful network that happens here. And we were built differently. As I mentioned, for 30 years almost, we do online education, and we have those small cohort for working professional that really brings a lot of, oh, if people can stay muted, I think I hear a lot of click, 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 click. Yeah, and we were built differently. And I hope that you can come and see it for yourself, because the institution is pretty amazing. And this is my last slide. I'll pass it over to Leslie after. But Changemaker Campus, for me, that's something that amazed me, because there's only a few institutions in North America with that designation. So I'm sure many of you recognize yourself as a leader, someone who wants to make a difference in their community. So this is why we got that cool accreditation of Railroad Changemaker Education, Ashoka U. And again, you can just type that in Google and you will see what that means. But it's really about innovative thinking, thinking outside the box, and hands-on project that we do within the classroom. And I think, Leslie, it's already your turn for the program structure. Can you hear me now? Did I mute you by mistake? I'm sorry.
I'm muted, sorry. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. And I'm delighted that we have someone from Loon River, and we have Claudia from Hay River. Sorry, is that right? Where are we? Yes, Hay River and Loon River Cree First Nation. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. I'm Leslie King. I'm a professor in the School of Environment and Sustainability, and I'm joined by my colleagues, Dr. Hamilton and Dr. Lickers, and I think Candace might be lurking somewhere, Candace Wilson, who are the instructors in the program. And I've tried very hard to have Indigenous scholars as your instructors, but not just scholars. These are people who have a wealth of environmental leadership experience, and you'll hear from them shortly. But I just want to go over the structure of the program. This program is an undergraduate certificate, so you get a credential in Indigenous Environmental Leadership at the end of 10 courses. And those courses cover what you can see on the screen. You can't see it very well because it's such small print, but I'll just quickly go over it. The program is a little more than a year, and it starts out with challenges for Indigenous environmental leaders. Sometimes the order of these courses is going to change, so don't get too wedded to what is the first and third course. And that is basically about environmental problems, and Megan will talk to you a little about that. I've also added academic writing, because when we first offered this program, this is what the students wanted. They said that they had never really learned to write very well. And so I put a writing course into the program. Michael will be teaching Introduction to Indigenous Environmental Leadership, which is great because Michael is an environmental leader. In fact, he's a leader, period. So you'll be hearing from him in a minute. Then environmental monitoring for Indigenous communities. And Megan will also be teaching that. Strategies for Indigenous environmental practice. This is a very hands-on course where you talk about methods, strategies, tools for addressing environmental issues in Indigenous communities. Then we have environmental planning for Indigenous communities, very important, as increasing numbers of Indigenous nations are getting out from under the Indian Act with their planning bylaws. And then we have environmental impact assessment for Indigenous territories, and Dr. Hamilton will also be teaching that course. She features very large in this program. And indeed was part of the creation of the program. Thank you, Megan. Then environmental conflict management, and finally a climate essentials course. And then the last course of the program is the hands-on experiential part of the program where you work with an organization working on environmental issues in Indigenous territories, and you will do a practicum to learn about what they do, but also to help them with what they do. So that's a great end to the program. By the way, if you have any questions, feel free to ask at any time. We don't mind being interrupted. So we'll try to answer all your questions, but we do have our contact information at the end of these slides. So if you still have questions that we don't get to during the webinar, please feel free to email me and I'll be happy to talk to you about the program. Okay.
Amazing, Leslie. Yes, someone was asking me actually, is it the second or third cohort?
This will be the third cohort,
Okay.
which is very exciting. It's still a brand new program. And so we hope some of you will apply. The deadline is coming up, but that deadline, which is October 6th, is not a hard deadline. It's a soft deadline. And so as long as you've signaled that you want to apply for the program and perhaps get your initial application into admissions, then you can get the rest of your materials in at any time, and you can still get into the January intake. But you'll have to move fairly smartly because October 6th is coming up pretty soon.
That's
Okay.
true, yeah, and I have a slide for it, so we'll review it at the end.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, great. Thank you.
amazing. I'll just pass it
Very much.
here. Yeah.
Okay, so since we have the instructors here, I'm going to turn it over to Michael and Megan and Candace if she joins us to talk about the courses. Michael, IELP 200, go ahead.
Okay. Holy smokes, it's good to see everybody here today. We'll talk a little bit more about formal introductions later on, but I'll talk about the course outline. Maybe we'll come back to that in a bit. When we talk about leadership, we know that in today's world, man, times have changed, the world's changed. And as leaders, this time is going to be a great gift to you in subtle ways. You have the opportunity to bear witness to these wonderful qualities and competencies and passion needed to change the world. Or the reverse of that, the values, principles, and perspectives you did not want to see continue in the world. And really, that's what this section of the course is talking about, to encourage you to learn to live your learning and apply that learning and expertise so that we can contribute to problem solving in today's ever evolving world challenges. And so the course outline, essentially we get a chance to look at leadership. We get a chance to learn and listen to some of the most inspiring environmental leaders that are currently practicing that leadership in their communities. We'll have a chance to look at some of the legal systems, and we sort of touch on all of the courses in a short period right at the very beginning. And it's encouraging us to look at leadership in a very much different way. What does that mean for us in our communities? What does it mean for us in our work? What does it mean for us in a sense in a collective environment? So I think this is the launch course, or at least the way it's lined up right now, it might be. And so I think it's an opportunity to reflect on leadership in the environment, and specifically what we can do to understand these knowledge systems and how they can be addressing environmental problems. So that's in a nutshell what I'm going to talk about for IELP 200. Super excited. Hope to see everybody that's on this screen at least in
Yeah,
IELP 200. I'll pass it over to my dear friend Megan because she's next on the list.
thank you very much. Megan, are you still there? Megan had to go pick up her daughter, so she might have left, but we will come back to her.
Perfect.
So I'll just run through quickly the other
Oh,
courses.
she's already back. I'll
Oh,
admit
she's
her if
back.
you
She's
want. Yeah.
back. Admit her. Great.
I think I think she got booted out. Now she's coming back in.
Oh, okay, great.
I will make you a co-host, Megan. Don't worry. Here we go.
Hello, everyone. My name's Megan Hamilton. It's nice to see you all here. So I will be teaching the IELP 220 Challenges for Indigenous Environmental Leaders. And in that course, we're mainly, looking at some of the issues that we face as Indigenous environmental leaders in our communities, in our territory, working with colonial governments, and working on projects that might be collaborative, that aren't really always working out to be so collaborative as we had, hoped. And how we manage all those things, how we move towards creating actions that benefit our communities, our people, the future generations, and pushing Canadians to move towards actually working towards reconciliation. Yeah, the next course I teach, which is a newer course, is IELP 216. Uh-oh, am I getting the course code wrong for that?
No, and 18.
No, okay.
And 18.
And 18. So 16 is environmental monitoring for Indigenous communities. And in that course, we're going to go over, all of the things that relate to environmental monitoring, that and all the various ways of monitoring for different environmental projects, whether that be being involved in environmental assessments with your nation, or monitoring on large resource extraction projects, and how that process usually works. I have monitored for our traditional government, so Mike and I's traditional government, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, for about 10 years now, maybe a little more. So I have a lot of experience with that, and I am excited to share some of the best practices of our long-term monitoring program. And then the next course is related to environmental impact assessment. So talking about how we measure impacts, how we create our own environmental assessments from our community's points of views, and also looking at cumulative impacts as well. So yeah, happy to answer any of your questions. If you ever want to reach out by email and talk more about the program, you can connect with me through probably Nancy's email and Leslie's. I don't know if you're going to list all of our emails, but yeah, reach out anytime. So nice to meet all of you.
Thank you very much, Megan. I'm so interested in the impact assessment course because I've had a number of students from Tunaha who have been so dissatisfied with the federal and provincial impact assessment processes that they are creating their own assessment process, which includes cumulative impacts, which is so important for Indigenous nations. I've already talked a little bit about the practicum, but Megan and I teach the practicum together. And I shouldn't use the word teach because this is really the student's course. It's very student initiated. So you will decide on your own practicum what organization you're going to do your practicum with, whether it's your own nation or an organization that you're already working with. And you'll do a 75-hour minimum practicum, and you'll have a site supervisor in that organization. And this is very exciting because we've had the most wonderful practica from the students who've come before you. And this is probably my favorite part of the course. And the practicum's done wherever you designate it to be done. So it's usually done in your own nation, or if you are urban, in your own city or location, with the organization of your choice, and you'll work with that organization. Some people do it virtually, especially in the aftermath of the pandemic. We always have some people doing their practica virtually, so they're not actually doing it in the organization, but they're working on something that that has been agreed to with your supervisor, some issue or problem. I hope that answers your question. And if you have any more, please just let me know. I think that's it for our discussion of the courses. Nancy, over to you.
Yeah. Wonderful. And bye, Megan. Thank you for being with us. If you don't mind, if Michael, you have a few more minutes, and Leslie, a few questions I got in the chat was,
Oh, good.
how does that look like? Yeah, people are sending that my way. That's perfect. How does that look like kind of a week during the program, right? Because we're online, like, do we meet every week together? Is it like asynchronously? Can you let us know a little bit what's the student experience?
Yes, yes, I'd be happy to do that. And Michael, you can add how you do this. But basically, everyone is very engaged and active in the courses. So it's not like a correspondence course. You're interacting with your instructors, you're interacting with your fellow students. And it's been absolutely wonderful because the students have been from nations all across the country, and they learn so much from one another about the different protocols and measures and practices in their own nations. So that's a really not so hidden agenda of the program, is that students learn as much from each other as they do from us. So now in a typical week, I would say, you'll be taking 2 courses at once. Some of you will have a choice to only do 1 course. Depending if your work is very demanding, you may only want to do 1 course at a time rather than 2. But you would be going on to the Moodle site, which is the course platform, and posting messages about how you do things, and interacting with your students, with the fellow students, and interacting with your professors. There will be assignments throughout the course, probably anywhere from 3 to 4 assignments. So you'll be working on those. You can do those individually or with your fellow students, especially if you have other students in your nation or area. So there's a lot of interaction. It's actually very, I think, engaging, these courses. And we at Royal Roads make a real point of making these online courses as engaging and as much like a cohort experience as we can. Mike, do you want to tackle that question?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. Thanks for asking that. I think, I would start off by saying this is the coolest part about leadership. Is that really what this program is going to get you to do, is to actually so in the course that I have, there's some readings that you get at the beginning of the week. It would start on a Sunday or a Monday morning, and the course would go from a Sunday to a Sunday. And during that time frame, you get a couple of days. You can read some articles. You can look at some information that's being posted around leadership and around the context of the course. And then hopefully by midweek, you're making a post. And as Leslie said, this is the gift. This is in my opinion, at Royal Roads, this is the powerful moment, is that when you get a student from Newfoundland, when you get a student from Northern Ontario, when you get a student from BC, when you get a student from the Arctic or Northwest Territories, and they're all conversing about the things that happen in their communities. And when you can sit there and read that and say, geez, I never thought about that. I didn't think that that was even a thing. Or, yeah, we do that, but we do it this way. And so it's a colloquial conversation. It's really intended to build awareness of what's going on in each other's communities. At the same time, you're learning a little bit about the articles that are being there that inspire you to think about leadership or the course content very much differently. So usually that's what my course would be outlined as. You got some readings, post by midweek, and then Sunday you're responding to your peers. at the time when there's an assignment due, really the assignment is you put it in, it gets posted in, your instructor will provide you some feedback, or what we call feed forward, because we choose to go forward instead of backwards. So feed forward, and that feed forward is going to help you in the culmination of a final paper. And that's beautiful right there on itself. So I want to say it may seem overwhelming and inundating if you've never taken a university online course before. That's the beautiful part about being at Royal Roads, is they are gifted and amazing administrative and support teams that will help you all the way through this. Take advantage of them because they are talented and gifted, and we should be doing more and more to provide them with the most powerful accolades ever, because I certainly couldn't do my role in this course without the support of them as well. So they're there to help you. We're there as instructors to help you. The whole of the university there to help you. And I'm excited about the possibilities. That's what the course is going to look like. And we're going to encourage you all the way through. And I think, as Megan has said in the note, you have all of these opportunities to reach out to us as instructors at any point in time. We have emails that are posted in the chats. We have emails that are chats that are posted, and you can connect with us at any point in time. Our job is to make sure that you're successful and that you complete the course in the best possible way.
Thank you, Michael. I want to answer a couple of these together. So one was the time of day. Because these are online courses, nothing is done synchronously. So everything is done at your pace, except there may occasionally be, and I certainly do this, and I think the others do too, Zoom meetings. However, if you cannot make the time of the Zoom meeting, I like to make them early evening, say 5 p.m. Pacific time. So that captures most of the Canadian participants. I see we have someone from Africa, and I have had African students in some of my other online programs, and they either get up very early or they stay up very late. However, they are able to participate. But if you are not able to participate in the synchronous activities, they're always recorded. And so we'll always give you a link to the recording so that you can never feel left out. You will always be part of that discussion. And another question was about needing to take all the credits or courses for the certificate. Yes, to get the certificate, you need to take all 10 courses. However, the certificate is just one of the things that you get from this program. If you want to take just a few courses, you can take 4 courses and get a certificate of completion. You can also take the courses at your own speed. So you can take 1 course a semester. The program's designed for 2 courses a semester, but we're very aware that we will have some people who will want to only do 1 course a semester, because most of these students are working, and the course is designed to fit your schedule. So there's so much flexibility in the program, so you can really do it at your own pace. I think that those were the 2 that I was going to cover. Nancy, we have
I'm
other?
I'm glad you mentioned it, because another question I got was, can I work and study? So for
Yes.
this program too. I know for most program at Royal Road, but that's good to know.
Yes, Nancy, I just wanted to add one more thing about
Yes.
the DEP. This program is also a pathway directly into the bachelor's program in environmental practice. So it gives you most of the credits. You really need 60 undergraduate credits to get into the Bachelor in Environmental Practice, which is a 2-year accelerated program. Many of our students have life experience that can count as credit. Many of our students have taken BEAR courses from Eco Canada, which can count as credit, and students can do a portfolio. So this program is meant really to be a stepping stone into the bachelor's program. Once you have the bachelor's program, we have the master's programs in environmental practice, and we have a graduate certificate in the science and policy of climate change. I don't want to overwhelm you, but I do want to say that there are places for you to go from this program.
I knew, Leslie, you will walk us through that. It's like we start here and then we boom, 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 keep adding.
Sorry, Nancy.
I like
Okay.
it. It's a big vision. And I think on the program delivery page here, did you want to talk about the computer skills?
Oh, yeah. Because the program is online, you almost do everything on the computer. And so it really helps if you have some computer skills, or if not, if you take some computer courses. I think most people these days are pretty computer savvy, but some of you will not have very good broadband access. And I know some of our students have to go to the office, to the band office, to do the work in the evening. It really helps if you have a laptop. And I know that many nations will fund the fees and will also provide you with a laptop. So that's a great way to go. Thanks.
Wonderful. I'm just answering a few folks here. And I know some people are joining us from outside Canada. So I'll try to move to that slide. Maybe we can have the conversation here. Oh, one last slide. I love that one.
There we are. There's Mike and me. The highlight.
Yeah. And can you tell us a little bit, was it the last cohort and some of the practicum that they did? Yeah, that was
Yeah,
the graduation, I guess. Yeah.
this was the first cohort, and this is only 3 of the students who were in that cohort, which was a cohort of 20 students from coast to coast to coast. It was wonderful. And then they did, so the person in the gray sweater did his cohort, did his practicum, creating a recycling program for a mine in Yukon, which was fascinating because he was dealing with a bunch of crusty miners, and he actually got them all to start recycling, and he dealt with the recycling. And that's what he did for his practicum. I can't even remember the practica that were done by the other 2 people in the oh yeah. I think Janice did a another waste one, and oh yes, and the third person did a climate change one and actually went to the climate change COP in Dubai. So that was fascinating. So people do wonderful practica. Sorry, Nancy, did you have another question in there?
No, that's perfect. And I think I will include that news article on that first cohort with all the amazing work they did with the
Yes,
recording so
please.
people can hear about it. And yeah, I think there's a few questions in the chat that Kelsey and Andrea are answering, so that's wonderful.
Oh, okay, great. Thank
And
you.
maybe, yeah, if you want to have a look, and Mike, feel free to stay with us, or if you have to go, that's good too. I think I'll review the application process now, because that's a question that is coming up in the chat right now is, if I'm international student, can I apply? And if I'm non-Indigenous, can I apply? So do you want to take those now, Leslie, and then I
Sure.
can just read that?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. The program is for Indigenous students from nations from across what we call Canada. However, if you are Indigenous from another country, we would certainly be happy to take your application. If you are non-Indigenous from Canada, but work with Indigenous nations or Indigenous people in one role or another and can demonstrate that, then I would also consider your application. This is really important because we want to make sure that the Indigenous students are in a safe space and can interact with one another. So I like to keep the non-Indigenous participation to a very low level. I hope that doesn't sound too unwelcoming, but the program is for Indigenous students. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you. That's wonderful. And people can look here for the admission. It's all stuff that we find on the website. Thank you for everyone adding the links there. So yeah, the standard admission, and this is not something you have to check as you apply at Railroad. You don't have to be like, oh, am I standard or flexible? The admission team will decide for you. But the requirement, if I might say, is graduated from a recognized secondary school or comparable senior high school, identify, as Leslie just mentioned, as Indigenous from the lands we now call Canada. A small number of students who do not identify as Indigenous people from the lands we now call Canada may be admitted if they can demonstrate that they work for an Indigenous nation, community, or organization. So I love that we have it written there. And then flexible admission will be for applicants who do not meet the standard admission requirement, but you will be considered for flexible admission and assessed as follows. So you will be assessed for admission on the basis of your skills, knowledge, background, developed outside traditional learning structure, or through a combination of academic and non-academic experience. So as you build your application, and we'll see it on the next slide, this is things you need to showcase to us, and this is some of the documents that we'll ask you to provide. And as you mentioned, some of you are coming maybe from the BEAR programs from Eco Canada, so let us know if that's the case. And if you're applying for flexible admission, it's at least 2 years of relevant environmental experience, either in paid or in volunteer activities.
And I'll tell you that I'm very flexible about these requirements.
As long as, yeah, we want to set people up for success. We need that background, you're right, and then we can be flexible. And yeah, people in the chat are like, I'm not Indigenous, but I work with Indigenous folks, so amazing. That's the type of discussion you can have with our admission team and Leslie. And how to apply. So this is kind of what we wanted to stress a little bit today because October is around the corner. So if you're interested by the program, you can go online now and submit your application. So you will pay that fee of $134.01. Very important, the 1 cent, I guess. And then that kind of opened the portal for your application. And then as you do that, the next day, I think 12 hours or 24 hours after, you have your kind of application form in the system, and then they will ask you to add documents, to upload your documents. So you will give us your official transcript from your past education, personal statement, and then if the people in admission recognize that you will be through flexible admission, they will send you a little note saying, hey, you need a letter of reference and you need a detailed resume. And this is kind of your chance, right, Leslie, to kind of showcase who you are. Let us know. It's almost like you're applying for a job almost. We want to know what you have done and why you want to join the program. And normally you always add something, Leslie. I'm waiting. I'm like,
Sorry, I was having a little exchange with Claudia.
that's perfect.
Okay.
Oh, perfect. And someone is mentioning, thank you. The fee, the application fee is $136.69. Amazing.
Oh, okay. Thank
It's
you.
$2 more. Just don't be
They
surprised.
always change, and this is why I never answered that question. But okay, Barry, that's great.
Thank you. Yeah, people are active in the chat, and start your application now. So that's exactly it. You can start your application, then submit your documents. What's important, as Leslie mentioned, is that deadline. The admission team will not review your application as long as all the documents are there. So if you're like visual like me, and I've been in admission, we need to check all those boxes, right? We need to have all your documents before we send your file for review. So make sure that like if you're serious about the program, you have the capacity to apply and start in January. You just need to be, how do we say, duck in a row, and I always mix that expression.
I'm not sure what the colloquial French would be for that, but
think about it. So it's doable, exactly as Leslie mentioned. It's just that don't wait and be like, oh, I'll do my application now and send my documents in a month. I don't think it's setting you up for success. But if you do it in kind of a nice way of like getting all your documents and sending it in the system, there's chances that you can get into that cohort. And I think I skipped that slide, but yeah, the next intake is January 6th. What a great way to start the year with all of you. I love it. And the deadline is October. And then, for example, if you can get in January, the next intake, as Leslie, you mentioned, will be 2026, so September, and with a deadline 3 months before in June.
Yeah.
What else do I have here to
I
tell
would-
you all? We have the Indigenous Student Services who are amazing. Our team is growing and growing. So you can read here. Yeah,
I
there's
was
just
just
so much
talking,
happening.
sorry, I was just talking to Shelby Blackjack
Mm,
yesterday, who's the new Indigenous Education Advisor. And she's very interested in this program and the students, and will be joining you in one of the early meetings to talk about the support that she has for you as online students.
that's so important. Thank you so much. And I know that the last bullet here, often the financial support can be for all of us, right? What can Railroad do? So go on that website, click on financial and awards, and then you can find all the little and big grants that you might be getting or loans here. I think it's very important to your success. And I know we have been telling a lot of information and emails, but if you want something simple, you can use the learn.more at railroads.ca, and they will know where to find us. and share your email if you need. But if you have any question about admission, application, really learn.more is your best way to go. And I see that there's more going on thanks to my colleague in the chat.
Nancy, do you have my contact information?
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay.
I know where to find you.
Oh, no, I just want it up for the students. Can
You
we?
want that we put it there? Perfect. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll do
thank
so. Is there any other question that I've missed, Leslie or Mike?
I'm trying to see.
I love that everybody is on it.
You're perfect for this program. You're interacting without us.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, as a recent graduate, and I had the chance to have Mike as one of my instructor. And that's something maybe for non-Indigenous here, like we have some programs that will have Indigenous knowledge embedded. So if you're curious about it, we can talk. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of all of you, what you do. And yeah, thank you for being with our community. That's amazing.
Thank you so much, Nancy, and thank you to all of you. I hope I see you all in the program.
Yeah, fantastic. And we'll send the recording and share that with your friends and colleagues for sure. Thank you so much.
So Nancy, I just to all of you, I am Leslie.King
Oh,
at
yeah.
railroads.ca.
Before people leave the room,
Yeah,
amazing. Here we
exactly.
go.
Yep, there it is. Thank you very much. So
Thank
don't
you,
hesitate
everyone.
to get in touch with me. Take care, everybody. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, you're welcome. See you all soon.
He gets